Today, to start off, I'm going to be mixing a little bit of BB cream with some white foundation. I won't be mixing a lot of white foundation, but it is enough to change the consistency quite a bit and make it a little harder to blend with my fingers. So I'm going to be using a brush, and then after I've blended it out all over my face, I'm going to go over it with my fingers, especially around the eyes, and make sure that they're nicely blended and you can't see any brush lines in the foundation. With a fluffy pencil brush, I'm going to use some concealer and apply this just over the areas where I think I need it. So I have a few spots which I want to cover up, which the foundation didn't cover up completely. And I also want to cover up some of the redness that I get in the corner of my eyes, but I'm not going to be covering any of the dark circles on the inner corner of my eyes. Now for the brows, I'm going to be using some concealer. I'm going to be using two different shades, but mainly focusing this on the start of the brows. I won't be bringing this anywhere near the end of the brows just because I want there to be a gradient. So I've used this first colour for my skin, the second for my eyebrows, and then the palest colour I'm going to be using for the start of my eyebrows. Once that's done, I'm going to be taking some primer and blending that all out, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply some eyeshadow. I'm going to be using a terracotta red, and what you want to do is just do a line on the outer corner. It can be messy, and then you just start blending it out until there's a nice gradient. With whatever's left on your brush, move to the inner corner of the eye, and then you're going to blend from the bridge, well not the bridge, from the edge of your nose all the way to the start of your brows, and then connect that to the colour which you've applied on the outer corner of your eyes. So repeat this whole process, a little bit on the outer corner, and then dust something on the inner corner just underneath the brows, and then blend it out until there's a nice gradient. Over this, I'm going to be using a dark grey in the inner corner, and then also a little bit on the outer corner, but closer to the lash line this time. And again, we're going to keep blending. Now we're going to be moving on to a dark grey, and I'm going to be doing a line on the outer corner of the eye on the upper line, which is going to point down a little bit, and then that's going to connect around all the way into the lower lashes. We're going to keep to a dark grey for the moment. Later on we'll be moving on to a black, but we want to try and layer these colours a bit. Then with a fluffy blending brush, I'm going to be taking a light grey, starting on the outer corner of the eye, and then you want to bring this around on the lower lid all the way into the inner corner, so you're going to get a bit of a sad look to the eyes. Then for the inner corner, we're going to be using a blush and just applying this on the inner corner of the eye close to the tear duct. You do want to close your eyes while you're doing this, otherwise, trust me, you are going to end up very, very irritated. With whatever's left on the brush, just put this on the outer corner of the eye, and then if that eyeshadow has blended away any of the concealer that you already had on your eyebrows, go over it again. Now for the tear lines, what I'm going to be doing is using a black eyeshadow and an art brush. First you want to line on the lower lid as close to the lash line underneath the lashes as you can, and then you're going to drag that colour down. If you can see some brush marks on the skin, don't worry about it. We're going to be blending this out later, either with fingers or with a brush. And then with that same brush, I'm going to line the upper lid, but I'm going to make sure to thicken this quite a lot on the outer corner. So on the inner corner of the eyes, it's going to be quite close to the lashes, but then on the outer corner, I want it quite a lot thicker. Same black eyeshadow, I'm going to use a fluffy pencil brush and go over those tear lines that I've created. This way, if there's any lines which have been left behind with a previous brush, which was a little bit finer and a bit more detailed, you can blend that out and make it look a lot more rough. I'm going to go over the start of the eyebrows one more time, and then whatever's left on that spoolie, I'm going to be applying this on the inner corner of the lower lashes. And then we're going to be moving on to an eyeliner. Now, you don't have to use liquid liner like I am. If you want to, you can use a more traditional brush and then a gel eyeliner if that's what you prefer. But whatever you do, you need to make sure that it's going to finish off very thin, because what we're going to be doing is hand drawing lashes, and it's going to make it look a lot better if those lines are very, very thin. Now for the lips, I'm going to be using a colour which is a little bit darker than my own natural lip tone. And then what you want to do is kind of imagine that you've got a heart which has been cut in half down the middle. And that is the shape you're going to be doing on the upper lips. And then on the lower lips, you're going to do an upside down T pretty much. And then you're going to curve that T top around into a C shape and blend it out with your fingers. Then you want to move on to a lip liner which is the same colour as your own natural lip tone, or you could even use a concealer if that's what you want. And we're going to be blanking out the edges of the upper lip, and then also adding a line from the lower lip spreading down onto your normal skin tone. Since this pencil is also technically an eyeliner, I'm going to be using this just on the inner corner of the eye on both eyes. Then moving back to the lips, I'm going to be using a dark plum colour. This is going to go down the centre of the upper lip and then down the middle of both lips, and you're going to blend this out. If you want to, you could also use a lip brush to blend this out, but I'm going to be using my fingers. After that, I just need to go ahead and apply some false lashes for the eye makeup. I'm going to be using some which are mainly clustered down the centre of the lash line, and then I'm going to be moving on to mascara. I've applied this on the upper lashes and the lower lashes, but I've kept that on the outer corner, nowhere near that white concealer that I applied on the inner corner, and I'm also going to press it up against the skin on the lower lid to make it look even grungier and messier. Then after that, we're going to be moving on to rhinestones. I'm going to be using some ordinary rhinestones on the inner corner of the eyes, also as the tears as well, but then I'm going to be using some pearls, and these are mainly going to be focused around the lower lid. So I'm going to have one just underneath the centre of the lower lid, one on the outer corner. I'm also going to add a few more at various points on those tear stains, and then I'm going to add one more right in the centre of the upper lid. This one's a little bit trickier, but if you get it stuck down, it looks really good. And that's it. You're done.